You're listening to What She Said on Canada Talks.
Children of Christmas Past is a program that I founded 15 years ago. I went into a facility, I was fostering pets, and I wanted to see if they wanted to take in a couple of cats. They were doing it in a nearby region. And I saw the seniors lined up outside their doors, and I asked if there was something special going on, if I had to wait a while, they wanted me to come back, and they said, no, they're waiting for visitors that aren't coming. So it was a weekly endeavor where the hairdresser would come into this facility and they'd line up, they'd get their hair done, they'd get maybe pedicures, manicures done, and a lot of them were expecting people to come. But the reality is they don't.
Now you call that moment the biggest gift you ever received next to your son.
Yeah, because I was very selfish. A very materialistic young woman, and I seemed to think that life was great, and as long as I looked perfect and dressed perfect, everything was wonderful, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment, because I realized, wait a minute, my parents aren't that young anymore, and Mom doesn't get up to do this. Is this why she's not? And then I started being more aware of my own family, and then I was more aware of the seniors, and then I realized when I went to the mall even, I'm not really seeing elderly people in the mall. Because that was back when they didn't have the handy vans, and even to this day you don't see a lot of them out. And it just grew and grew and grew, and it changed my life.
So how does your program work?
It's been refined through the years.
Yes, obviously.
But I mean, I no longer do it from a bubble, desktop computer while running daycare. But what I do is I send out an Excel spreadsheet to the different facilities, and then I ask them to fill in the senior's first name. They have to find out what the senior wants, and if they're not capable of articulating it, they have to tell us what they need, right down to the size, the color. It's probably the most specific program. They send that spreadsheet back. I assign what I call a version code, because now we have over 34 facilities on board, and it ranges from Niagara Falls to Orangeville. And that version code helps us when we're sorting the gifts. So when the sheets come back, we have to go through every single list to make sure there's nothing like glass or candles or anything a senior or perhaps maybe even their partner, their roommate could eat or hurt themselves with, because if they're maybe our roommate with someone with dementia. And we type the tags by hand, because that way we get all the details down. And sometimes in a mail merge you lose those details.
So where are all the gifts coming from?
The community. We have over 38 to 40 trees erected in different private businesses in the community, and I found that I wanted a private business to have the trees because they benefit from the traffic. So it's always a pay it forward, and the donors come out and they take the tags like candy, and they buy the gift, they wrap the gift, they tape the tag on, and it has the room number, the ward number, everything along with the gift, wish, and name, and it comes to my house.
To your house?
Yes. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I just moved this year, so the basement in the last house was just, I can't even tell you. I mean, there were pyramids of gifts from the bottom of the floor to the ceiling, and then the fire department would come in to volunteer, and they'd push the gifts away from the furnace and say, Jill, you need 6 inches, but they were just piling up. So now what's happened is a warehouse has been donated the last 2 years. But they still come to my front porch, which I think is the biggest success of the program, because people like a homegrown charity. And they can drop it off, most often, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Well, obviously, your program has raised awareness about something that you didn't know about before that day when you had your aha moment.
No.
Or maybe you knew about it, but when you saw that picture, that was when it sort of resonated. So this must have generated a lot of awareness, and your program is obviously exploded over the past 15 years.
It's gone insane, but it has raised a lot of awareness, because people still to this day say, I didn't even think of seniors being alone or seniors needing a Christmas gift. I had no idea that there were seniors that were lonely. I had no idea that were seniors that were depressed. And it's a learning curve for all of us, but what I've learned, the biggest gift in this program is that a senior very rarely will get excited. A lot of them will be happy and pleasant, and it's a part of dignity. So my son's first delivery at the age of 7, he went to make a delivery, and it was a man. He opened up his door, and he said, I don't want it, and he slammed the door. And my son just kind of looks around. He says, well, what do I do? I said, this is great, Noah. You just got the ultimate unconditional gift of giving. So you place it outside his door on the floor, and we walk away. So as we were doing other deliveries, he opened up his door a short while later, picked up the gift, took it inside, and unwrapped it. There's a lot of pride and dignity. I mean, there's not a lot of people that want to admit that you're completely alone at Christmas, because then you don't want people to feel sorry for you. You want to honor the way they're going to accept the gift as well. And that is a huge endeavor for a lot of the delivery people. They realize this is really difficult for them.
Why is it, do you think, over the years you would know that there are so many seniors waiting for visitors that never come? Is it because they've forgotten that they don't have any family in that area, or are they really just ignored?
I think it's a part of everything. I mean, the first couple of years I was quite arrogant and thought, how could you not visit your parents? But that was me assuming everybody had children, or their children live close to them, or they're married. Maybe they never got married. I had one woman named Pat. She was lovely. Lived in a very low income. It was actually a 3-story walk up for the mentally ill. But when there was bed space available, seniors would go there. So Pat lived to be 92, and Pat had a son, but unfortunately her son worked long hours, and he wasn't around that much, and so she was alone most times of the year.
Well, I know my father was in a home, and my sister and brother-in-law and I would have a conversation every week about when we would go, so we would space it out.
Mm-hmm.
And he would talk about, I mean, that was the highlight of his week. He would talk to me about his visit with her, and he would talk to everybody in the dining room, and then he would talk to them about. So it's something, he went from visit to visit almost, and people don't realize that there's not that much going on in their lives. Their lives close up.
Their lives close up, and let's face it, at the end of the day, if you don't have, I mean, their family are the people they spend time with in the facilities. Mm-hmm. No, we're not even touching on the seniors that are in their homes through agencies that are on the list and in the program. They're asking for things like a stocking for their dog, which is their only companion. So that's really important for them to have a gift to give their only companion.
Do you also include people who are not in homes?
Yep, definitely.
Well, how do you find out about them?
Through different agencies. There's Peel Senior Links in the program, and we have assisted living, which is seniors that have their own sort of apartments or condos, okay? And they have assisted living, which means there's somebody on call. But they're essentially in their own homes. So, yeah, those agencies send me a list, and I give the list of names to the trees as well, and then the gifts and everything else. And they're volunteers to deliver.
So how many seniors do you think you provide a gift for a
At
year?
least 5,000.
And growing every year.
And growing every year. Because what happens is a nurse might find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and she'll say, can I put some of our patients, our clients, our residents in your program? Will you say yes? There's a new one this year in Welland, and apparently it's got very few seniors, and I believe it's a facility for, it's long-term care, but they're very, very ill. And that just came last week. So they're in the program at the last minute. So Terry is still typing tags. One person typed the tags again.
So just so I understand it, I go into a private, somewhere where there's a Christmas tree, and there's tags on the Christmas tree. I take a tag, which looks like a gift that, I'm comfortable picking, wrap it up, deliver it to you, and then who does the distribution for you?
Oh, lots of delivery people. As long as they have a police clearance, everybody comes on warehouse day, which is December 20th for sorting and making sure everybody has their gift. If a gift, by the way, is missed, we have a generic gift pile where people purchase, and they know to buy blankets, pajamas, house coats, socks, generic items that a lot of seniors ask for, lotions, and then we match them up best we can. And then December 21st, a lot of the gifts start moving, and then a lot of the gifts as well Christmas Day for the facilities that want them Christmas Day.
So have any big companies?
Not this year so far.
Really?
There's one in Oakville, an insurance broker in Oakville, and I told her, I said, you can come to the Tim Hortons reception tree at corporate, take off a few tags, but if you could start purchasing the really nice blankets like you see at Chapters Indigo, those really, something really nice quality that they wouldn't generally get year round. Things like that.
No, I meant like anybody, like a manufacturer or a maker of
Yeah,
goods,
no.
like Tilly or somebody, because that would be
not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Well, get on it out there. Like, come on.
We should mention too that our co-host Sharon Caddy has been a volunteer for a number of years, and she says this is one of her favorite things that she looks forward to is going and distributing gifts. It's an absolute. It's a a recipe for feel good.
Sharon and both her daughters actually have been
Yeah.
involved, and then when they walk in and they see the gifts, I think it hits them, especially the girls. It hits them that, well, why do they need these gifts? And it's like, this is why. And a lot of it is they don't have someone to shop for year round.
You're watching What She Said on YouTube.
So what are the chances that this could spread across the country? Because I'm sure this is a need everywhere.
Oh, it's enormous everywhere. There's a great chance if people just get a hold of me. I'd love to open up chapters to different provinces, especially Quebec. I've had emails to open up chapters in LA and Cocoa Beach, and it's all over. It's crazy, just by word of mouth.
So this is a North American phenomenon?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know of any other program that has specifics the way we do.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about forgotten and ignored seniors.
Oh, it's definitely a national problem, and long-term care funding's been cut back, which is a huge problem. What a lot of people don't understand is seniors don't want to leave their homes. And if one of them is ill, they become the caretaker. Well, eventually one person dies. So then you're sent to a home. Eventually we're all going to die, and the chances of passing away with someone that we know and love beside our side is actually quite low.
Now, you talk about them then going to a home, but there are, as I understand it, a scarcity of beds in homes.
And affordable beds.
And affordable beds.
Many years ago, a lot of seniors lost their money and their pensions, and that's all coming to play right now. So they don't have the finances to go in. Many of them don't have the finances to go in these beautiful facilities, and they are beautiful, and they're doing a good job. But what happens to the seniors that need the subsidy? There's not a lot of homes out there at all. There's a wait list. And
I know.
sometimes the wait list means if there's a bed available very quickly at a place, there's a reason for that.
I know the one in my neighborhood, there's a 5-year wait list.
That's right, in a quality home. But what about when you go to the hospital and the charge nurse says you can't go home again, and you're not well enough to take care of yourself, and your spouse can't take care of you, and you have to go to the next available bed space, which is most likely going to be a facility that is a privately run facility. It may not have the best care, and the bed space comes up often.
Or it may be 100 miles away, so it's away from
That's
your
happened a lot,
doctor,
too.
your dentist, your children, or any
And
everything
it's a
you're used to.
very well-known statistic that moving a senior away from their environment, you're automatically cutting a decade off their life.
You also talk about the mental health of seniors and the depression. And Kate, you just talked about...
when we opened the show, CAMH has put out a study that's saying 230,000 Ontario adults seriously contemplated suicide last year. But you have...
There's a lot of seniors that are committing suicide. They're outnumbering our teens committing suicide and depression. A lot of seniors are getting diagnosed with bipolar, which can be a trigger from a lot of medication. I mean, I don't really know the ins and outs medically of that, but there's a lot of depressed and seniors committing suicide. And it's easy to do. I mean...
So Canadians are compassionate people. We love to give, and we have big hearts, generally.
We do.
What is the issue here? Are we just not aware?
Are
governments not prioritizing this?
Our government is not prioritizing it with all the cutbacks that they've been putting down to the truly beautiful angels out there that work in these facilities. They're taking away the help and the care. They're taking away funding when our populace is growing. Our elderly populace is growing. I don't understand it. I keep hearing we're going to have a new bill for elder abuse. I keep hearing we're going to have increased funding for elder care in their homes, and I'm not seeing it happen. And I've been hearing that for 10 years.
Well, part of it is that we are all in a sandwich generation now. People are living longer, and stats show that people are getting married a little later, having their children a little later, so everybody inevitably ends up being in that sandwich generation where you have either one or two sets of parents and children, and you're being told that they need to exercise and be involved in activities, and you need to, cook meals from scratch because of processed food, so you're working. Full time. And meanwhile, you've got a set or two of parents that need your attention. It's tough.
I don't know if people realize unless they get into that position. I have a lot of friends that I've talked to in the last few years that are getting into that position where they're trying to be their parents' caretakers. And they don't understand the path that they're going down is a very difficult path. It's true. You work full time. You have your own children, usually under the age of 10, and you've got your parents that have suddenly become elderly. You are, calling first stop. You maybe call Meals on Wheels, or you call the CCAC, and what's really difficult is you can't be there if they fall, because the Connect Care button isn't going to be pushed by any senior that I know that they wear around their neck. You can't go over in the middle of the night to pick them up. You can't go over there to clean out the fridge where the food's going rotten. It's a really big problem. I mean, I'm a sandwich generation parent, and I look at my son at the age of 12 and I think, okay, I may never get married again, so this could be me not too far down the road.
But as a parent, you don't want your kids
I don't want
to
my
look
son
after
to take
you.
care
Right.
of me. I just want him to know I'm safe and that I'm healthy and that I'm well and being cared for. Because if not, chances are he will try, right? But there's a lot of seniors that, yeah, unfortunately they don't want to depend on their children. I can't imagine how emasculating it is for parents to realize their children are now driving them and their children are now pushing the walker and the wheelchair. Suddenly you're going away with coolers full of sliced oranges and apples from a soccer tournament to putting that away and putting a wheelchair or a walker in the back of your van instead. You just can't mix the two at all.
Well, I remember when my father had a stroke, and it was many years ago, and my mother was dying of cancer. He had had a stroke. We had somebody looking after them, but when she died, and we went every day, he didn't want to move in with anybody. We wanted him to move in with one of us, my sister or I, and he didn't want to. And I think he was lonely, because how often can you go? But I did make the middle of the night visits lots of times.
And it's frustrating, and then you lose your patience. I mean, my mother was constantly calling me, and my son at the time was 18 months. Jill, can you come over? Your dad's falling, and we need to get him back into the lift chair. Okay, Mom, why aren't you pushing the button? And I was getting short with her. Well, then pack up the baby, get to the car, get over there. You can't do it, but then you have to there's a whole other can of worms. Then you have to open up to the CCAC, which sends in care, and you have to make sure they're safe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues the government isn't addressing.
Well, and people are aging in this country.
Quickly.
And the demographic is just ready to boom.
It's staggering. And I mean, that's what I mean. Canada, I know proof. When I first started this charity, I walked to stores, Fortino's, wherever it was, to get gifts by myself. It was an open house for seniors. That's how it first started. Bring me a gift for a senior instead of a bottle of wine. And people just gave me things. And I realized, how easy is this to ask? And it was easy. So the thing is, once more awareness is out there, I know our population will help. I know that they'll start kicking and screaming. If you look in the library or you go to Chapters, there's not a lot of books out there on elderly care and what's going on.
Well, for all our listeners out there, from coast to coast, if anybody is interested in this, get a hold of Jill. Where can you be reached?
You know what, the best page I'm finding with the volunteers and myself is my Facebook page, Children of Christmas Past on Facebook. Joining that's where all the updates are going, and if I'm not available, then the volunteers are on there as administrators, and they can help.
Now, what are the most requested things for seniors?
My pajamas, good quality Kleenex, because if they're in a facility that just has hospital brand Kleenex, they want soft 3-ply or 4-ply Kleenex. Blankets, a really good quality shampoo.
Christmas decorations as well.
I always ask for soft tabletop decorations for the ones that are in the long-term care beds, so they have something that they can open their eyes to Christmas morning.
Comfy slippers?
Comfy slippers, but non-skid. I've learned
Non-skid,
that.
yep.
I just
I
give
know.
everybody non-skid across the board. I don't care if they can walk or not. It's non-skid.
And what about toiletries? And
They love getting toiletries. And even the nurses, I've asked a couple this year, I said, this one asked for a bottle of scotch. And she said, he's allowed. And I said, okay. I said, can you write something out for me on that? She said, you know what, he's not going to be with us too long, and he just would like the odd hit of scotch. So I allowed that on a tag, and then
I think that would be permitted.
Yes, absolutely.
if you're not going to be around too long and you want a shot of scotch, I mean, definitely. I mean, I found rolling papers in my grandmother's pantry, and I'm pretty sure she was not growing
Go,
tobacco.
Granny, go.
Yeah, go, Granny. They made the canaries sing that she was raising, right? So.
oh, that is just too funny.
Well, it's almost legal. You might get away with a little request for a little.
She was just ahead of her day, right?
A little medicinal oil.
Oh,
There you
yes,
go.
absolutely.
There you go.
I think the biggest thing for seniors to know is that the community remembers that they're there.
But it would be nice if this spread across the country, is what I'm saying. I mean, that we all need to remember that it's not just children.
It's not at all.
You know?
And they love the fact the gift is almost at this point just an added bonus.
Yeah. The fact that somebody thought about them and planned it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, okay, so people can just send you gifts. I mean, who would be your dream company to get in touch with, to connect with, to say, you know, this would be a great charity for them? You know, what kind of manufacturer would you go, I just wish we could get the attention of?
The Bay.
The Bay.
I was
The
just
Bay.
going to say that.
The
I
Bay.
was just going to say that. The Bay.
They have the best blankets and pajamas, and they have all of the toiletry baskets that are beautiful. The Bay.
The Bay.
The
Yep.
Bay.
All right. Well,
Good-
Christine,
yeah.
we know
Yeah.
people at the Bay. I
We
think
know-
I think
yeah.
we're on a mission.
That would be, I mean, that would be wonderful. And they're across Canada.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And what about if somebody in another province wants to talk to you about? I mean, at this stage, is it still totally nonprofit for you, or do you?
Yeah, it's not for
need-
profit incorporated. Yeah.
There's nobody that you're paying out on this, so it's.
No, you know
It's
what?
a
The
lot of
volunteers
time.
are amazing. Ask Sharon. The ice storm last year, it was a great day for us at the warehouse during the ice storm.
And you didn't miss a gift.
We didn't miss a gift. But that, you think about the volunteers that go to my porch. It's a very labor intensive charity. And I told someone the other day, I said, I just realized, guys, we start this, and within 5 weeks of the tags getting done on tagging day to Christmas Day, we have 5 weeks to get 5,000 gifts. That's pretty awesome work of the volunteers.
That is.
It is. So they use their own gas money. They do. They get excited. This is when they get excited and cold, when they go clear off my porch. Now I'm actually worried because my porch has only had about 100 gifts dropped off. So, and the
You're low
weather's
this
been
year.
good.
You're low this year for this time.
Well, the tags are gone, so I don't know what's going on. Why my porch? I've definitely advertised I've moved, so nobody's gone to the old house. I've asked the old people to take a look, the new people to take a look. So I'm a little concerned. So having the Bay in case something has happened to our tags would be really outstanding.
Jill Harrington, thank you very much. Founder of Children of Christmas Past. We'll put up all the links on our Facebook page, and we'll tweet it out, and it'll be on YouTube. So, get in touch, and anybody that has a tag that is meant to have dropped off that gift, get going, because they we're in December now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.